Hello everyone. In this video, we will be talking about European Global Institute of Innovation and Technology's educational philosophy. This is the andragogical concepts that we employ for creating content and learning environment for all our stakeholders. We follow evidence-based management as a conceptual framework so that all our managers become the future leaders by becoming better decision makers. We promote reflective learning to bring in their practical experiences and relate them to the critical evaluation of the conceptual framework so as to create new theories. Activity-based learning so that they actively learn something so that the cognition becomes better and better rather than the passive learning. We will keep this presentation very, very short. The topic number 1 is evidence-based management. This is the diagram of the evidence-based management, and as we all are aware that evidence-based management has emerged from evidence-based practice in the medical education, wherein a patient tells his or her symptom to the doctor employs the previous evidences, how these cases were solved in the past, uses his or her own judgment in this particular situation at the current point in time, so as to recommend some solutions to the patient, who is a stakeholder in this case. The management education is also the same thing, and the decision making in the scenarios is also very similar, wherein each situation is different, as we are aware that management is more of an art and little bit of the science. So each situation is different. Every organization works, every leader has a different way of decision making. So hence, the leader evaluates the current issue and then he or she employs the evidence, which is the literature review in the technical terms, that how these situations were handled in the past. Is there any conceptual model that already has resolved that problem? For instance, Maslow's theory of motivation. Then they evaluate it based upon their own experiences because they had the experience of working in this kind of a situation before. And then they evaluate the nature of the decision making that can flow within his organizational structure and how the stakeholder will be valued by his or her decision. So the value of his or her decision is very important by evaluating that how stakeholders are perceiving its value. So hence, evidence-based management is very relevant that all our graduates who learn with us, we motivate them to identify a problem for their thesis wherein they can evaluate that whatever research they are engaging themselves in, what will be the outcome of that research and how and what kind of decisions they are making, and to critically reflect upon that decision to be bettering their decision on an ongoing basis, and how they can transform that recommendations from the research to the stakeholders and how stakeholders are perceiving their recommendation. And this makes every graduate of EU Global as a better leader. Reflective learning. Practice, action, self-assessment of action, and consider ways of improvement. This not only is an improvement, a decision improvement cycle, but rather I suggest that it's also an improvement cycle within the life decisions. So there's an experience and we want to do something. There's a planning. And then we put that plan into action, reflect back upon that action, what went well, what did not went well, and then consider ways to improve. So what did not went well, how that situation can be rectified so that going forward, better processes can be integrated, better decisions can be made based upon the past learning. And this is how this becomes a lifelong improvement using reflection. Do, reflect, learn, and then next time, whatever you are doing, incorporate the learning from your past actions to make it better, and then this is the lifelong learning path for all of us. An example of the reflective learning, how EU Global engages our learners in reflective learning. So this example is based upon a reading critical thinking technique literature review given by a professor, wherein he or she is asking the learners to reflect on any one creative decision implemented by the learners in the recent past. So here we aim to bring in the learners' prior experiences into discussion. Name any two quality of yours that you think motivated you to take that decision. So what kind of the creative decision the learner has made in the past, and every learner or every human being makes a different decision in the same situation. And for this reason, we help the learners to reflect, and these answers are posted on the peer-to-peer discussion forum so that different students coming from varied countries can learn from each other. The step number 3 here is now read this Unit 3 reading once more, especially on the critical thinking technique literature review. Read a particular section on techniques of creative thinking such as brainstorming, mind mapping, reframing, etc. What if these techniques do you think fits in close to your way of creative thinking? Now here the professor is trying to bring in the evidence into the decision-making process of the learner. So the theoretical frameworks designed and deduced by the researchers in the past are very important to help bettering the decision making so that there is no trial and error decision making. The decision is based on the informed decision. Step number 4 is now reread the same reading once more and write if there is any other technique you are influenced with what you might want to use in future. So it's more critical reflection on the concepts so as to evaluate what is the best fit situation and which conceptual framework do the learner wants to pursue with, and what are the downsides of that particular conceptual framework and what best fits into his or situation. So it's a critical evaluation of some learning. And then the learners are motivated to post one reply and comment on one of the peers' answers as well. So this enhances the peer-to-peer learning even more. Activity-based learning.
Hello everyone.
So I brought one video for you.
I'm
Please
talk
just
about
have a look.
one of the examples on the activity-based learning. So for instance, there is some unit on the critical reflection, and then we are talking about this reading itself and helping the students to critically reflect upon the reading by asking several questions: how, what, and probing them to evaluate this reading further and to come up with their thoughts. And the students have then written up their thoughts on this. For instance, let us see. So yes, students have read it. Then we incorporated one activity here, which gives students a template on this same reading, Ryland's reflective skills, and with the reference to that. And then we are asking them to do something. It is an active learning even in the asynchronous environment. So creating a climate for reflection in the group, asking what we experience or describe situations, even our own involvement in them without imputing meaning. And then associated questions and behavior is to what can I learn here? It's a self-probing reflection, ways that you already use that skill. Now here comes this students' reflection on their own practical experience and how they're using those skills and how might you develop these skills in your practice further. This is an example of an activity-based learning, which like using some Microsoft Excel learning tools, or wherein the students are motivated to write something. And then our students are really great, they come up with the good reflections. and they participated. And this, hello everyone. In this short video, I'm going.
So this is a wonderful example of the activity-based learning that our professors are employing in our education delivery. Discussion forums, as in one of the examples being given by the professor. So in this video, we have detailed about our educational philosophy to make even the asynchronous learning active, reflective, critical, and creative, that enhances value to the learner stakeholder, so that our learners become the leaders of tomorrow and they have all their stakeholders respecting their decision. Thank you.